And now, prepare your ear holes for penetration as we bring you another great podcast from the Poop Culture Extended Universe.
From deep in the burbs of America's Vancouver, it's the Vantucky Fried Podcast with Casey Bay and Rob Bertrand.
What's this gonna cost me, Bobby?
Here's your host, 140 pounds of flapping lips and an opinion on everything, Casey Bay.
I don't believe this guy. He's a rough, tough hombre, isn't he?
We got a big battle in front of us, baby, and it's just started. So let's get funky like a monkey.
3, 2, 1.
Showtime! Woo!
Run tell that, homeboy.
Well, welcome into another episode of the Vantucky Fried Podcast. My name's Casey Bay, and if you can keep a secret, I can get you a set of them illegal lawn darts by noon tomorrow. Unless you're the cops. I don't even know what a lawn dart is. As per usual, the guy over there, he's my pal, he's my trusted co-pilot, he's Rob the Spotted Banana Bertrand, and topics on the board. A look back at a Pacific Northwest legend, Tonya Harding. What's up with Carrie Fisher's dog? Charlie Sheen says enough's enough. Plus, we'll make some dreams come true in the form of a VFP Smile winner. And I've got a band of the week all the way from Australia. We're the Northwest Podcast fueled by relevant coffee in uptown Vancouver, Washington. And we're brought to you in part by the legendary craftsmanship from the fine folks at CroninBuildingCo.com. As always, thank you for being here. And if you're keeping score at home, it's the 58th episode of the little show that could. We call it the Vantucky Fried Podcast. Let's get into it, huh, Robert?
Oh, hi, Casey.
How are you, man?
I am excellent, man. I'm having a fantastic week. All the good is coming down this week, man. Life is good.
Well, you deserve it.
Thank you.
You had a pressure cooker couple weeks.
Yeah.
So it's nice to see you coming back in a happy mood and winning.
Yeah, I am super happy. Speaking of winning,
yeah. Did you
I
win
won my
again?
fantasy game. I'm on a 4-game win streak. I have successfully made it to the playoffs. And you know who didn't? Our very good friend and sometimes dog walker, AJ
Horan?
my arch enemy Horan.
AJ didn't make it?
No, sir.
No playoffs for AJ?
No, and matter of fact, he's in the running for the Shit Bowl trophy.
Oh, man.
Which is a huge dishonor in our league.
Oh, man.
There's a chance that he's going to win it this year.
Sounds like something the poop culture guys would be into. You should send them a photo of that trophy. Maybe they can get a flag football thing going.
Oh, I will certainly. I'll tweet out a picture imminently.
So AJ has to be sitting at home in the most extreme pain, knowing that the next time he looks at your face, he's got to deal with a whole bunch of smack talk.
Oh, that's right. Because I'm 1 game away from the Super Bowl. I'm on a 4-game win streak. Like I said last week, I'm dangerous.
Well, I know how you guys do when there's nothing on the line. So it's always nice when one of you has the advantage over the other one because vicious play comes out. So everything else is good besides
man, everything's
work
great.
and football.
I'm going to be seeing the new Star Wars movie on Thursday at
All right.
9:30 p.m. at our local Regal. This week couldn't get any
What
better.
are you doing? You want a bunch of people to join you? You're gonna have
Yeah, come on down.
do a flash
Buy
mob
ticket.
at the parking lot?
Let's do it. I'll bring my lightsaber.
I'm glad that you're bringing that up to go and see because I've been reading nonstop about Carrie Fisher's dog. So we'll
that's
get into that in a
interesting.
minute. Yeah, it's just a weird deal. But you're the guy that knows about it, so waited for you to get here, and we shall talk about it.
Well, let's do it.
If you didn't hear last week, you can catch us on the iHeartRadio app. You can catch us on Apple Podcasts, as we've been there from the beginning. And we're also on Stitcher and Google Play. What else?
MySpace.
Yes. Everywhere you get your podcast. What else? I went to my daughter's Christmas performance, which is always interesting.
Oh, yeah. How
Saw
was
a preacher wearing a leather jacket. Like suit,
What?
a leather suit jacket, which was an interesting thing. Kind of made me a little bit uneasy. And
it? Did he have the collar on, too?
no, it wasn't a priest. He was just a
Okay.
preacher. So
All
you know, a little lower key. There's no more entertainment than a kid's choir. Like, you don't enjoy going to listen to the kids' choir, and like the whole time I'm going, oh man, how long is this thing going to run? And you get there and you forget how much entertainment comes out of watching 30 kids all having to do something that they don't really want to do, but they've been working on for a couple weeks. Like
Right.
they know how to do it, Some are half-assing it. Some are really giving it their all. Some are really overdoing it. And one's not paying attention. One's spinning around. One's picking its nose. One's looking at his watch.
One kid didn't wear the right shirt.
Playing with his pant pockets. And, like, it's just so entertaining as a people watcher as I am anyway. I'm mostly always entertained by the things going on around me, not so much the actual event.
I was always entertained by the people jockeying for position to get, like, front row.
Yeah,
it was always a fight to get a seat.
I thought, like, in the choir side. What are you talking about?
I'm talking about as a parent, you get there and you want to get the best seat you can because you got to record it
for sure. Yeah, I thought you were talking about like choir, and I'm like, well, that's like by size. Like your height dictates where you stand.
No, I'm talking about the fight in the audience.
Yeah, no, that's for real. Cameras and cell phones out and everything else like that. But yeah, always an entertaining thing to go and watch your kid do their play for the holidays. So got that one. I don't want to say out of the way because that sounds bad, but it's done, and she had a good time.
So what was on the docket here? What kind of songs we singing? In my mind, they're not letting you sing Christmas songs anymore. You're singing
they
like
sang
things
all
that don't offend people.
They sang all the traditional Christmas songs.
And
and then they do like some of the deep cuts.
Sure.
Like the ones that you don't really sing a lot, and that gets a little much. Look at me. I like Christmas. I love a good Christmas song. I like a good sing-along, a good caroling. But you get into those deep ones, 4 verses in, they don't know this stuff. Come on, let's just stick to the.
Right.
Let's
don't
stick
you
to the
think
ones.
that's the theater director just being a little bit pompous?
Well, it's like, look, we get it.
Stick to the hits.
I know there's more, but yes, let's just go with the ones that everybody knows. It's instant comfort. Everybody can relate to it. I mean, gosh, make people feel on the spot. Oh, I'm the one that knows the 4th verse. We're more Christmassy than you are. Maybe you should go home and think about that. Huh? So anyway, that's what I'm up to. Nothing too terribly exciting. Same old stuff around here, just gearing up for the big old festivities, man. Christmas is going to be here in no time.
Yeah,
The
my
days are
daughter
counting down fast.
reminds me daily.
Dude, I'm telling you, it's crazy. I can't believe how fast the months go by. It has me feeling very old, and possibly like there's another alternate universe in play somehow. So yeah, not a whole lot of fun or excitement going on with me, but what is fun and exciting is crowning a new Smile winner. Who you got, Rob?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, hailing from parts unknown, introducing the undisputed heavyweight Smile champion of the world, Bobby Blaze Smedley.
Bobby Blaze Smedley. He's a published author, man. He's a master of the arts in communication. He's got a Bachelor of Science degree in organizational communications. He's a professional wrestling consultant. And needless to say, he's an athlete and a follower of this very podcast. Rob Bertrand, how does that grab you in the biscuits?
Man, you know what? I tell you, it is amazing. I've seen the cover of his book. He's got his shirt off, holding a wrestling belt.
He's got a belt. You know what that tells you? He's a champion.
Smile champion.
Smile champion of the world.
And he could probably whip your ass.
Well, he could certainly whip my ass. He ain't got a shirt on. Nothing says ass whipping like a dude with no shirt on. It's clear. Bobby Blaze Smedley. We appreciate you following the show. We appreciate you finding us. And you know I love me some wrestling, especially from the 80s. And look, I think you and I are fit for a conversation down the road here, Mr. Bobby Blaze Smedley. So I think I'm going to be reaching out to you. You just seem like you might be too good to be true. So welcome to the club. You're in grand company, and we're glad you're here. So the VFP Smile Winner Club welcomes the one, the only, Bobby Blaze Smedley. Keep smiling, Bobby.
And maybe keep blazing.
Blaze and smile. That's what I always do.
Happy holidays from the Vantucky Fried Podcast.
Ah, fragile. It must be Italian.
All right, real quick. So I teased it at the top of the show. I've been reading a lot about Carrie Fisher's dog.
Yeah.
And, she died unexpectedly, and the dog was willed to her assistant, I believe. And now Gary, the French bulldog, with his tongue hanging out of the side of his mouth, just cute as all hell. She's got him booked into doing Comic-Con signings. The dog is doing autograph signings.
The dog has a personality. Like, he is a star in his own.
I literally saw the dog sitting at a table with Sharpies as though the dog was going to pick up and sign an autograph. And it got shut down.
No kidding?
Yeah. So Carrie Fisher's daughter, Billy Lord,
who is also in the Star Wars movies that are coming out right now.
She said, how about we don't take my mom's legacy on down to a dog? I get it. It was her dog. She loved the dog. We all love the dog. That's all fine and dandy. But the dog don't need to be making the circuit doing autograph signings for people to come.
But you know what? She would have loved that. Carrie Fisher would have loved that.
Her agent is saying, look, man, she clearly, it's in demand, and two, like, it helps people feel closer to her.
Yeah.
So she's got an argument. I see it as a cash grab.
Total cash grab.
I don't see it as it's doing anybody any favors or it's for the fans. I see sacks of money, and she goes, oh, man, I can get $20 a pop by parking this dog at a table for 2 hours?
Sure.
Sign me up. Actually, sign Gary up, too. And let's just start counting money. Daughter came in and said, you know what? Yeah, no, we're not going to do that.
Well, I don't think it's hurting anybody except for Billy Lord. Two, Carrie Fisher loved that dog and took that dog everywhere. On TV shows and interviews, that dog was all over the place.
Right, that's the way it seems. My thought was, why aren't people seeking her? And why are they so into the dog? So you would think the daughter would be the one that everybody would go, oh, man, she's just a younger version of her, so why don't we you'd think super fans would germ to the actual physical daughter, DNA-carrying, blood-toting person versus the dog.
Yeah, that's interesting, and it might be that she's just not into it, doesn't want to do that, even though she's in the Star Wars movies, the most recent ones. But I think people are attached to the dog because Carrie Fisher, in her last few years, had that dog everywhere. And so it's kind of funny, and it's kind of charming. I'd want an autograph from her dog. That would be amazing.
I would want to watch the dog autograph it. That's what I would like to see the dog sign the autograph. That would be good enough for me. I wouldn't actually need the autograph for myself to take home. I would be completely content watching the dog sit there for an hour signing autographs and casually getting tired of it.
You got to look at it from Billy Lord's point of view, too. That's probably a really awful reminder that your mom has passed away. And two, somebody's out there making money off.
I think it's just that. I think it just looks cheap. I think that's really the thing. It's just like, looks at that and goes, that's my mom's legacy. And there's a dang bulldog
now what
out
they
there.
Should do is they should let that dog sign autographs and give all that money, whatever they raise, to charity.
Oh, well, I don't think it would be an issue.
Yeah.
The fact of the matter was it was going into assistant's pocket.
Well, listen, I'm sorry, Billy Lord, but that doesn't pay the cable bill.
That's right. Listen, Gary's got to eat.
Yeah.
And in fact, Gary likes really expensive food. Your mom had him on some high-end stuff that's frankly out of my budget. So Gary's going to have to pull his weight. You know what I mean? Gary's got to
literally.
Gary's got to pay these LA rent prices. So I just found that interesting how it was just all over the place last week. I just kept reading about this dog named Gary.
It proves that people will literally pay $20 for anything.
For that exact thought rolled through my mind, and that's what I was like, who the hell is going to get a picture? I mean, I suppose people would get their picture taken with the dog because the dog is, you could Google Carrie Fisher's dog, and that dog's going to come up. So, I mean,
like I said, she loved that dog.
Technically, the dog is a celebrity. I mean, if one wants to argue points, I don't think we can. I think Gary does.
Does he have his own IMDb page?
I don't know. If he
should.
Let's get one started. Oh, he doesn't.
She has a taste for Marlboro cigarettes in high-performance carburetors.
I like this.
In other crazy news and hijinks and things I've been reading about in the news lately, Tonya Harding, a local hero at one point in time here in the Pacific Northwest. There's a new movie about her coming out starring the ever-popular Margot Robbie, who is an executive producer and then stars as Tonya Harding.
That movie is known as I, Tonya.
I, Tonya. She couldn't be hotter right now. So all of these retrospective news stories are coming out locally, and all these packages from the 90s are getting replayed, and it's super interesting. It's a time capsule, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
Immediately takes you back to, that would be our sophomore year of high school, 92, 93.
Yeah.
And when that whole thing went down, and it was just a firestorm of Tonya Harding's husband and his band of hooligans attacking Nancy Kerrigan as she came off the ice.
Why? I don't know, some hard black stick. Something really, really hard.
And just taking her out of competition.
Just whacking her right on the knee.
So I think we all know the Tonya Harding story in full. It was an interesting thing. So while these news stories are coming out, I start Googling and watching YouTube videos and Extra and appearances on Oprah, and like there was a lot of Tonya Harding stuff out there.
Yeah, right.
Man, to watch the evolution of a human being, it was honestly sad. It also had me wondering, like, how much was she in on? Did she get kind of sandbagged? Did she know about all of it? You know, it just really was an interesting thing because she got penalized super hard. Like it kicked her out of ice skating.
It ended her career.
Yeah, I mean, she couldn't have anything to do with it whatsoever. And so you take somebody who's worked there literally their whole life to get to that point, and then hijinks ensue. It goes away, and then you tell them, no, you can't make any money doing this profession in any capacity. What the hell are they supposed to do? Like, how do you ever come out of that level of depression? And the story is just so much wider than that, with her growing up with virtually $0.
If you want to watch a really good documentary about this,
don't interrupt me.
It's on Netflix right now. It's a 30 for 30 ESPN documentary called The Price of Gold.
Yeah, I've
seen that. And it goes through her childhood and her upbringing to how she got into the figure skating type deal, all the way through the controversy to where she is now. It's really a fascinating look. I'd highly recommend, if you want to see I, Tonya, to probably check that out before you go.
Well, it was really interesting to me that that was her ticket out. Like, she was. I don't know if you could get any closer than she was to her life changing forever.
Oh, yeah.
She would have been endorsement city, making a bunch of money, and it would have been curtains. It would have been the greatest thing ever.
And imagine having all that talent and coming from a dark place like she did, and then just getting close enough to see that fame, only to have it go to somebody else who's already rich and well-to-do. You know what I mean? That was Nancy Kerrigan. She came from a really well-to-do family.
Pardon me, would you have any Grey Poupon?
Yeah, she... not Nancy Kerrigan, but Tonya Harding, she was only one of 6 women currently that has pulled off a triple axel.
Yeah.
So, and then there was nobody. You know what I mean? And she becomes a laughing stock, and she's like one of a handful of people to ever pull this maneuver off, period.
Right. And she can't even get on the cover of Wheaties.
Incredible politics. And so it might even be the documentary that you're talking about. It just goes to show like how your financial status kind of dictates. It's a club. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
And ice skating is an expensive thing to be a part of.
And let's face it, it's a little bit snooty, right?
Well, your daughter's in cheer, so I would think it would be akin to that type of thing.
Sure, yeah.
There's going to be some kids that have a lot of money, some kids that don't, and they're barely making it, and their parents are maybe working a deal to get their kid in there or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, that does happen.
So Tonya Harding was making her own clothes, that whole bit, like there by the skin of her teeth, had the money to do it. And that was kind of looked down upon. Like they didn't, the Olympic team didn't want some, coach class,
exactly.
middle of the road.
Put. Coach class.
You're gonna bring down the rest of the deal here. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you're good, but still, like
you make your own clothes.
Yeah, and it was just weird to really look at it as a 40-year-old guy now and go, let's just rewind the tape, go back and take a fresh look at it and see what my outcome is. I'm not convinced that she knew that Nancy Kerrigan was going to get taken out. I think that there might have been some talk about it or whatever, but I don't think she knew when it happened that it was going to happen. I think greed on husband, because they had already split up once.
Right.
They were back together because the Olympics said it would look better if you were, back in your marriage and look like a wholesome situation, and you'll fit the mold a little bit better. So she went back to the guy that she didn't really want to be with, and it seems to me like he knows that it's not long for last either. But this is the closest he's going to get, it's going to be here. We're married and half of it's mine.
He's going for his chunk too.
I need to acquire as much as I can get in the fastest route possible.
He needed Tonya to win gold.
Yes.
Big bucks, no whammy, stop!
He was going to ensure that you did it.
It would be in her best interest to tell him, no way, don't do that, because even if she took a silver, she's better off than what happened, right? So the more I broke that down, it seems like between manipulation and just people telling her to just shut up and go along with the plan, that she probably just kind of went along with it if she knew it, which I'm not convinced she knew all of it. I think she probably knew bits and pieces, and it was speculation, and I don't know that she knew that it was going to go down when it went down.
Yeah, you know what? After watching that documentary, it really gave me the feeling that she wasn't in the know. But who knows for sure, really?
Well, what works against her is her upbringing.
Yeah.
So she has this real rugged, rough and tumble, redneck demeanor.
Right.
Which
She's definitely
totally
a tomboy.
supports clubbing somebody in the knee.
If you're involved in a dispute such as this with another party and you just can't seem to work it out, don't take the law into your own hands. You take them to court.
But does your upbringing and where you come from, does that make you guilty?
Absolutely not. But that's not the society we live in.
Yeah, true.
That's the tough part of where we are, and it's a lot of how it's playing out today. The media kind of made that up, that she was part of the deal. They rolled through with that, and she had nothing to say about it.
Well, she was never officially charged with a crime.
No, but she became an enemy to the media. You know what I mean?
That's true.
They started heckling her and stalking her around, and then she started getting surly with
that
them.
Gresham, Vancouver attitude.
And then it started that spiral of then she just became the rough and tumble, smoking cigarettes all the time, out, getting in trouble at bars, getting in fights. And that's what I remember. And when I was in high school and living out here, it was Tonya Harding stories.
And then all of a sudden her sex tape leaked, and a classy lady doesn't let that happen.
Well, that was the husband.
Yeah.
So
totally.
the husband, and that was one of the first sex tape for money deals.
Yeah,
to go down. If you think about it, from a celebrity sex tape status, they weren't really in existence. That was, and especially one that was hey, you want to buy this?
Yeah.
That was a big deal when that thing came out and that spread. How many ways can they burn her down? There was no way for her to come back from any of that. And then, in the ultimate twist of twists, I'm reading through Facebook yesterday, a guy that we went to high school with, your friend Brett. His dad was her agent. Oh yeah, and by the way, what a small world.
I've known Brett since high school, man, and I don't know if he ever told me that, and I just forgot. But it was quite a shocker for me.
And it wasn't like he just said, oh, yeah, that's the deal. He backed it up with an article from the Oregonian. It was quite the surprise. Pretty cool and very interesting. Again, to watch somebody go from Olympic gold medal contention to just rough, put on a bunch of weight, go through all this, just the wear and tear that stress and life can put on someone, and to watch her physical demeanor change as much as it did a couple of marriages later.
To the point where she was taking fights in local bars.
Yeah, no, she went
boxing matches.
She got booked on that Fox Celebrity Boxing.
Yeah,
and she did pretty good.
Tonight from Los Angeles, history will be made in the most talked about event of the year. Welcome to Celebrity Boxing. Tonight's triple header includes fiery Olympic figure skater Tonya Harding.
And with
let's face it, she's an athlete,
right? With no way to make money in ice skating anymore, she realized,
I'm probably a little pissed off.
Yeah, I'm not too bad at this. I can get some money making going this way, and so she did that and hated it and felt ashamed that that's what her life had come to. Man, it's just a crazy thing to go back and watch how someone could just make it through so much adversity, get all the way there, and then over nonsense lose so much. Millions and millions of dollars.
As an actor, I've been on the precipice of fame a few times. And, dude, it hurts when you get almost there and you knock on that door and it don't answer.
I was just going to say, she left millions of dollars on the table. There's no two ways about it. You're talking soup endorsements. tours, the Smuckers on Ice tour, like just that stuff alone. So you look at Christy Yamaguchi or whatever. Like when they were just growing up, like they were the most famous ice skaters that I can think
they were like
of,
Disney
right?
kids, but on ice.
Where are they now? Like they're not. You don't ever hear them talked about really to speak of anymore. They're all retired.
I would imagine. Yeah, maybe they're retired, or maybe they're working as like trainers or
Nancy
something.
Kerrigan and Tonya Harding will always be a topic of discussion from here and for the rest of the time.
It was good entertainment. It was good TV.
Yeah, I mean, there's no more famous ice skaters ever than will be Nancy Kerrigan and Tonya Harding. And Nancy Kerrigan, to this day, is just disgusted when the topic comes up. Like her face, she can't hide it in her face, like the disdain.
She won't really talk about it or give interviews about it either.
It seems like they'd be able to bury the hatchet by now, or at least have some sort of appreciation that there is a possibility.
They need to go on Dancing with the Stars. And they need to dance this out.
Nancy Kerrigan was already on Dancing with the Stars.
I know. Bring her back with Tonya.
She's got an advantage.
We're going to have ourselves a dance-off.
That wouldn't be fair to Tonya. So Tonya, she's on her third marriage now. She went and married herself a heating and AC guy back here.
Well, good. He's got a career.
Living back here in the Couve.
Yeah.
And she's a mom now.
Well,
do you
good
know
for
that?
her. She's got to move on.
Exactly. So she seems to be doing very well. And all I kept thinking was what I wouldn't do to get to have a conversation with her.
Okay. Well, let's make it happen.
I don't think it would ever happen.
Why?
I don't think she's into it. I don't think she would do an interview without a large sum of money.
Yeah. Well, you never know until we ask.
A current affair, inside edition, that kind of stuff.
Okay, so here's the deal. I'm going to get on the horn with Brett, and I'm going to see if we can't get on the horn with him. Maybe do a little interview over the phone or something.
Yeah.
And then, and who knows, maybe he still has a connection, and we'll call in a favor.
What I'd like to see is if his dad actually produced any of the Learn How to Skate videos.
That she was in?
If you read the article, that was one of the things that he was talking about. They were getting ready to launch a Learn How to Skate VHS tape series, and I would like to get my hands on one of those.
Okay. I'm sure I can get you that. If Meryl Eichenberger had anything to do with that,
if it's in existence, it would be cool. It would be cool to see that. So yeah, there's just a lot of Tonya Harding talk, and it just occurred to me that, well, by golly, that's a local story.
Yeah, and I've always felt bad for her. Like, I'm a fan. Like, I think she got put through the ringer. It really wasn't her fault. I just hated to see what happened to her.
Yeah, her mom was a monster, man.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll see a little bit of that in the movie.
Man, it's just one of those weird things. From the rink to celebrity boxing, like we talked about, the Kerrigan attack. Good plan, bad thugs. You know what I mean? Like that. That's
always their downfall too. They always hire the stupidest guys to pull this stuff off.
It seemed like the plan was sound, and it could have worked out the way that they wanted it to. Granted, I'm glad it didn't work out any better than it did.
Right.
But it seemed like they put their plan together pretty good. Like they picked a spot, nobody really saw them. Like it was. They turned themselves in, so it wasn't like they were spotted and got chased out of town.
I think their undoing was the fact the guy couldn't keep his mouth shut.
The big guy?
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the only skaters ever to have multiple skate mishaps. This was a bone of contention with a couple of interviewees watching this stuff.
Okay.
So other skaters were saying, all right, how many performances do we do? Bunches, right? Rarely do you break a lace, break a blade. And that happened to Tonya Harding 3 times in competition where she had to stop. Something happened with her, a lace breaking.
Yeah, well, when you're making your own clothes, well,
that's
stuff's going to happen, okay?
It's no excuse come game time. Come game time, all rules apply to every player.
She didn't have a $30,000 sewing machine. She was using her grandma's.
You go from making your own clothes to being in the middle of a story so big that the FBI is involved. What a time. And she was only 23 years old.
She was very young. Yeah.
So could you imagine being at that height of fame and
just completely surrounded by the wrong people giving you the wrong advice?
Holy cow. It was just amazing to me to look at the gravity of that situation, how much happened in such short succession, and that she was 23 years old. Yeah. And we wonder why she imploded. Like, it's of course she did. What else do you do in a situation like that? You went from being dead broke to on the cusp of being a millionaire, and then back to dead broke with no way to make an income. That might bum somebody out. That just might ruin your day. And when you're
now everywhere you go, you're hounded.
And your ex-husband's a creep and does you one better and sells your tape to ruin your credibility even further, so you can't do any
and listen, it wasn't even a good tape,
right? But I mean, so that rules out any ambassador work, anything that she can do coaching kids,
that's
Special
done.
Olympics, anything. Like it just
All done.
ruined all of it. If you're into a good old crime story, check out some Tonya Harding stuff and go see I, Tonya. And I don't know, think about it for yourself.
Maybe take your kids ice skating.
Do you think she did it or do you think she didn't do it? And yeah, I remember her being at the Lloyd Center down there in closed sessions, not being able to go. The people being all just lined
Upset.
up around that rink watching.
Yeah,
Up
just
above,
mean
looking
mugging.
down, just watching. Crazy times. I think that's hands down one of the biggest things to go down in Oregon history in our lifetime from a pop culture perspective.
Yeah, well, wait till we get to crossing the streams, buddy.
You got a better one than that?
I don't know if it's better, but I got an interesting one.
All right.
You're going to have to wait.
I can't wait now.
The Vantucky Fried Podcast.
Just watch your mouth, mister.
We all know how important our passwords are. We also know they're hard to keep straight. Did I change it? I don't remember changing it. Try this one, try that one again. And the next thing you know, pow, locked out for good. And then you find yourself out pouting in your car because you don't want your coworkers seeing you get all upset again. Take it from me, a guy that's got a perfectly good picture with Alyssa Milano locked away in a MySpace page that I can't access anymore. Had I had Vault, my problems would be over. Vault's the new way to keep all your passwords protected and in one place. Make your passwords as random and as complicated as you want. And let Vault remember worrying about that junk. With Vault, pictures are your password. They figured out a way to translate your random passwords into a set of memorable images, and then they train you on those images using proven techniques from psychology and cognitive science.
Wow.
Pretty fancy, right? So try Vault for yourself. Put an end to the password madness. Visit vault.io/fried to get started. And thanks to that handy URL, when you download Vault, you'll get 2 months of synchronization free just because your friends here at the Vantucky Fried Podcast know a guy that knows a guy. So check it out. VALT.io/fried. Vault. Effortless security through visual memory. So Charlie Sheen is in the news this week.
When is he not in the news?
When is he not? Exactly. And it's not so much a Charlie Sheen thing that had my brain going, was Charlie Sheen suing the National Enquirer for the Corey Haim story, molestation accusation.
The rape accusation.
Yeah. So he's saying, hell to the no, that is just a bunch of rubbish. I won't have my name associated with it.
I never raped Corey Haim.
We got to draw a line in the sand somewhere, and here's where he won me over and kind of had me going, hey, he's got a point. He goes, look, I've admitted to every filthy misdeed that's made me look like a fool the whole way through. Never lied about it. Come out clean. And I'm like, yeah, he kind of has done that. I mean, he's been very pompous about it.
Most of it's drug abuse and sexual stuff.
Right.
None of it's a crime.
True.
Like a horrible crime, Charlie.
Very true. Corey Haim's mom also is on his side, saying, hey, I just don't believe the hype. I don't think it happened. Again, not necessarily the Charlie Sheen
And
angle
is that
here.
something you really come to your mother for? He wasn't upset about it.
Yeah, I don't know. It sounded like him and his mom had a close relationship. Anyway, that's a story for another time. My brain went to the litigation of the National Enquirer.
Yeah.
They have been paying a lawyer every day for 40 years, probably. I mean, how many lawsuits are they involved in regularly where some tabloid's getting sued? How the hell do they stay in business? Like, that's got to be so much money. Like,
they're fending off a lot of lawsuits, I bet.
And only the ones that we hear about. Like, there's got to be a bunch of just like settling, letter firing back and forth. That's all billable out. You know what I mean? Like, there's a fee that comes to that stuff.
Well, this is why I read World Weekly News.
Who's also in the hole a few bucks with their lawyer. So, no, I mean, tabloids have been getting sued as long as I can remember. So let's just say 30 years. How many lawsuits have been fought in court with however many celebrities over nonsense? And it feels like, let's just say, 5 a year maybe?
Yeah.
So every couple months one comes through and somebody sues somebody for something. And I don't know. How do you want to throw an arbitrary number on it? I'm just trying to come up with some sort of sum.
Well, do you think it's that they sell so many of those papers that it doesn't matter because they're so rich?
It's hard for me to believe that that's the case.
Dude, I mean, you can't go through any grocery store line without seeing those. My
I
mom
know.
used to buy them like stacks at a time.
But that was before the internet.
Well, that's true too. But you know what? It's not the younger people that are buying those. It's people like my mom.
Yeah.
And your mom. I mean, I don't know. It's a different demographic.
It's
all the older soap opera watching older ladies that are buying that shit.
Yeah, I mean, I get it all. That's all fine. It just seems like it's upside down by now. I don't get how they can stay afloat when it's multi-million-dollar lawsuit after multi-million-dollar lawsuit and year after year after year. Like, how it makes you wonder how many of tabloids are getting sold. It has to be a bunch.
Maybe they're winning because their stuff's turning out to be correct, Casey.
And you got to pay our lawyer bills, and they ain't cheap. We use good ones.
That's right.
We don't have no prepaid legal.
Nope.
I found that to be another weird entertainment story.
Excuse me if I don't believe Charlie Sheen.
Does Charlie Sheen even know what reality is at this point?
No.
I mean, I would think between pollution in his body and what he deems the truth is, I think it'd be very hard to take his word for anything. I mean,
at the same time, this happened so long ago and nobody came forward when it happened. It's like, what do you do?
Yeah. Well,
we all know he's a creep.
Who isn't? It's like creep of the day. Like there needs to be an app developed now to figure out who creeps are and who good people are. Like, I don't even know anymore.
You think we need like a social media app where we can log in and be like, went another week not being a creep.
I need something because I don't even know who to say I can like anymore. I mean, as soon as I say I'm a fan of a TV show, I'm going to find out that guy's a creep too, and then now I'm a bad guy because I like that.
Because you're
guy.
associated.
And I had no idea. So it's just constantly this state of booby trap. And I don't really like it.
Well, that's why I don't like anything.
Look, Mario Batali, he just went down.
I heard.
You take a fat Italian in Crocs, and even he is in trouble for it.
Crocs and socks.
All jokes aside, there seems to be something suspicious in regards to that one. People seem to be quick to throw him under the bus casually.
Yeah.
Not coming right out with it and saying he's a creep, but people just going, took this long, huh?
Okay, so like,
you're
I
just
keep
hearing about this?
that. I keep hearing that from everybody. It's like, oh, that's just Harvey being Harvey, or that's just Charlie. Why are you keeping your mouth shut?
That's exactly how.
And it's my biggest problem with that documentary you were talking about last week, Voyeur, where the writer is he finds out that this guy is peeping on people in his motel
and does nothing
for 20 plus years. Just lets it go and stays in contact with them, letting them do it.
You
like, people, come on, wake up.
You pose an interesting question, and that would be a very valid question if you ever were talking to that author. What was your plan? Are you just going to let it roll out because at some point you knew you were going to want to write a story about it?
Yeah.
Well,
guess what? You can go to the cops, let them come investigate, take them into custody, whatever. You can still write your book.
Yeah, absolutely. But or are you keeping close enough tabs on him in communication to where did that start a spiraling decline to where he's going to start kidnapping or killing somebody?
Exactly. That's the logical next step in that kind of perversion, I would think.
Pretty interesting stuff, man. So yeah, it's a weird time to be alive with creeps and lawsuits and everything else going on with that. It's literally.
Well, guess what? We
had
had right before we started recording, we had one creep get his comeuppance.
Yeah, what's that? Mr. coming in on a horseback to place his vote. Well, I've never seen such a thing, man.
We're talking about Roy Moore.
I mean, I've just never seen such a thing. The only thing that would have been better is if he came in on a stark white horse. And maybe in a suit of armor or something. Just to come in and save the day.
Wearing blackface.
Save the day. All right. Well, look, we've complained enough about that. Charlie Sheen, get it together, man. For cripe's sakes, dude.
Cross the streams. Cross the streams.
Well, I don't know about you, but I watched a little bit of TV.
No, I want to know what you watched first.
Well, I've been trying to knock out the final season of Longmire on Netflix. It came back on a few weeks ago. And I got to say, I started watching it because I loved the Cheeseball Walker Texas Ranger-esque feel to the show.
And you love Lou Diamond Phillips.
And I like Lou Diamond Phillips. You got Katie Sackhoff in there. There's a lot
great.
There's a lot of good going for that show. So yeah, 6th season, trying to round it out. And then what
is it? The final season?
Yeah,
the series over.
Series is ending. So who do I see? Tom Wopat shows up in the.
Speaking of creepers,
what the hell are you two doing here? Investigating a crime?
And when you're a prime suspect, then?
Just doing my job in my county.
Not anymore, you're not. Mayor asked me to take over, do this job for you. You're officially off the case and under investigation. Now, I don't have to tell you folks how bad this looks. Finding you here, cleaning up a crime scene, tampering with evidence.
Not tampering, just looking around.
You say anything you like? Check it out. All right, you know the drill. Get out here, hands against the wall. Come on.
As a deputy from another county, a jurisdiction, whatever you want to call it, and he's keeping an eye on Walt because Walt's going to court for some stuff. And Walt is Walt Longmire.
And it's a little funny that he's playing a cop from another county, kind of a thing.
Smug, jerky cop.
Just from the show he got famous on.
Duke boy. They'll be coming by here just any moment now. I can feel it in my bones.
Yeah.
Now he's the cop.
He's the Hazard County cop. Chickasaw County.
Chickasaw County is what I'd say. Yeah.
So it was it's good. I think it's at that point where they've told the stories as many ways as they can tell it. Probably good that the season's that it's the final season, that the show's coming to an end. Great show, but they all run out of juice. I'm 5 episodes into the final season, and I feel like
how long's the season? Is it like 13 eps?
No, they maybe 9.
Oh,
9 or 10.
That's easy.
Yeah, it'll be a quickie. So yes, I enjoy it. I would still say recommended. Yes, it's a good show. If you're into that whole Western town button up to an Indian reservation, you ain't got rights to be here. This ain't your, you know what I mean.
Get off my land.
Yeah, you got the reservation police, and ain't nobody coming across anybody's lines, and it's always fun.
All right, well, I'll probably won't ever watch that.
You won't ever watch it.
Yeah, it's not my cup of tea. Mm-mm. But you know what is my cup of tea?
Lipton flow-through tea bags, like 2 bags of flavor in one.
This YouTube documentary that I found the other night, searching just for some
You don't have
random
time.
stuff.
You don't have time for quality acting, including Lou Diamond Phillips, but you got time for a YouTube documentary.
Well, let's not discount YouTube, Casey. There's some good entertainment on YouTube.
Yeah.
Okay, and I have nothing against Lou Diamond Phillips. I think he was awesome in La Bamba.
I want to cut you off for one quick second because I just thought of a YouTube story that I read about the other day that I couldn't believe happened. Did you hear about the guy who decided it would be a good idea to take a microwave and fill it with plaster and then put a sack on his head and then stick his head in the plaster?
Yes, I did hear this. I believe it harmed him quite immensely.
Almost died.
Yeah.
But he got a great YouTube video out of it.
Yeah, and it's all about those likes and shares, brother.
Tell me about your movie.
I stumbled on this documentary called Polybius, the video game that doesn't exist. And I kept hearing about this game all through the years, like for probably the last 10 years. This mysterious coin-op video game that supposedly in 1981 was seen in a Portland arcade shop, Portland, Oregon. And it made people act a little weird when they played it. People were having like memory issues and anger issues while playing it. And every once in a while, the Men in Black would show up and take readings from it. And then suddenly it just vanished without a trace. And so this documentary really dives into the history. Is it real? Is it fake? Where did the story start? Where did it come from?
Why Portland?
Why Portland? Well, Portland was known as a place where they would test out certain video games. It was a test market for certain games. But the problem is nobody has ever been able to verify whether the game was real or not. They haven't found a actual coin op. The only evidence they have that it exists is a screenshot of the main screen before you pop your quarter in. And it's just very plain. It says Polybius. Gave the date of origination as 1981, and some German company called Sonnerhauser Schneider something or other.
So it came in, and people did play it, and people went crazy. So who was documenting the people going crazy and things like that? The convenience store worker or the arcade worker?
Nobody. Honestly, I don't believe it was ever real. I believe it was an urban legend. And I think it started around 2000 because this guy does a really great job of tracing it backwards through the internet using all these different methods of going through all these different like user threads and conversations like coin-op websites, and just did a really thorough scrub of the internet. And as far back as he could get to it was in 2000 on a coin-op board. And they trace it to one guy that was possibly the originator of the myth. but they can't get it any further back. And they've never found an actual coin-op version of the game. There's been a lot of people that have put out what they claim to be the real version of the game, but nobody could verify it or not. It's just a really interesting urban legend in the gaming community, and it was really fascinating.
Sounds like a job for Magnum PI.
It sounds like a job for Quarter Boss. We need to get him on this.
You know what? Speaking of Quarter Boss, I messaged with him just today, or maybe it was yesterday, in the last 24 to 48 hours, trying to lock him down to get him back in here. He's syncing his holiday schedule. You know, he's got parents that live both out of the state. So I don't know what his travel plans are, but I want to get him in here. Get on that.
Well, I'd like to have a conversation about Polybius with him. I'm sure he's aware of it.
The story of Polybius is one of the most horrifying mysteries in video games. It started as one of the internet's earliest urban legends, and despite not having much evidence, the Polybius story lives on.
Absolutely. He's got to be aware of it, and I'm sure he's going, oh, yeah, that'd be great. I'm curious about the Portland, Oregon part of it. I don't understand why or how that happened.
I don't know how it started, but that's the rumor. And there's people that claim that, oh yeah, I totally remember it. I totally remember playing it. And they claim it was a vector game, kind of like the original Star Wars vector game when you're flying through the trench. And others claim it was a little different than that, but nobody really has concrete evidence of its existence or if it was just a myth. And so intriguing.
As we've seen,
it's like Sasquatch of the video game coin-op world.
Exactly. As we've seen in a lot of these shows, once people start buying in to the hype of it all, then that becomes the reality and the truth too.
And there's arcade owners out there that have created versions of it. Like they've made the arcade cabinet look just like the game, and it's really interesting.
I love a good urban legend.
Well, the fact that it was out of Portland tickled me. So I was like, right on.
Great.
Okay.
It's always great when that stuff pops up and you go, no joke. What the heck? How weird is that?
So this documentary was called Polybius, the game that doesn't exist. Just YouTube it. You'll find it. It's about an hour and 8 minutes long. Well worth your time. It's very well done, well researched, and very interesting.
So that's what we've been watching. I'll be back after this with my band of the week, man.
The Vantucky Fried Podcast. If you close your eyes, you can almost smell Camus.
Band of the week time, everybody. I don't know how you feel about indie folk, but I got some for you. All the way from Australia, no less. Check these guys out. Hollow Coves. The track is Coastline. You'll find it on their EP Wanderlust, and you're hearing it right now on the Vantucky Fried Podcast.
I'm leaving home for the coastline, someplace under the sun. I feel my heart for the first time, 'cause now I'm moving on, yeah, I'm moving on. And there's a place that I've dreamed of, where I can free my mind. I hear the sounds of the season and lose all sense of time. I'm moving far away to a sunny place where it's just you and me. Feels like we're in a dream. You know what I mean. The summer air by the You know what I mean.
If you forgot to write that down, the record is Wanderlust, the band Hollow Coves, the track Coastline. That is, in fact, my band of the week. Get more from them at hollowcoves.com. Well, that's going to do it for us and for episode number 58. Don't forget, you can find our show on the PCE Universe, as well as Stitcher, Google Play, Apple Podcasts, and the iHeartRadio app. You can also catch us weekly at the VantuckyFriedPodcast.com. You can send us a message. You can share the show. You can like our page on Facebook. You can follow us on Twitter. We'll take it however you want to serve it up to us. Now, let us know when that's done. You know how we do it. We're going to pay you. It will be maybe old walnut shells, bottle caps, other things that we find like crows. But either way, we will send you treasures in a sack of some capacity. It's the holidays time, you know. We're not going to ask you to send us presents, but you could go leave us a review. You could leave us a rating. You could do all of those things that make us feel nice. Right, Rob?
Right, Casey.
All right, thank you. You can connect with Rob and book your escape experience over at northwestscapeexperience.com. He's also easily followable on the Twitter at RobBertrand77. For Rob Bertrand, I'm Casey Bay. We did it again. We wrapped up another episode of the Vantucky Fried Podcast, fueled by relevant coffee in Uptown Vancouver, brought to you in part by CroninBuildingCo.com. And doggone it, we out. We'll see you next week. We'll be back here with another one. And until then, go be good to each other. Be nice. Stay warm, man. It's cold out here in the Northwest right now.
Turn up the heat.
That's right. We'll see you next week. Turn up the heat.
This concludes our broadcast day. Click.
What you just heard was a podcast in the Poop Culture Extended Universe. For more great podcasts, make your way to www.poopculture.com.